Yes! Welcome into Snow The Goalie, the only Flyers podcast, people's podcast, players podcast, prognosticators podcast, PD's Light podcast, the only Flyers podcast. I'm Russ Joy on Twitter at Joy on Broad. Ant's here at SanFilippo. Bundy is having himself a heck of a day. He is basking in the post-wedding glow of his oldest child, his oldest daughter. And so here we are, friends. Bundy will be back soon, but family first with that guy.
He's down the shore.
Absolute beaut. Great guy. If you see him down the shore, make sure you wave.
By the
Say
way,
hey.
By the way, it sounds like you're eating. Mm-hmm. And drinking, obviously.
That is correct, yeah.
So what are you eating?
Taco salad.
Get out.
I'm having a taco salad.
I had taco salad for lunch.
Get out.
Maria made it for me.
My wife made... What? Wow. The wives coming up huge.
I wonder...
Do you think the wives are coming up huge because they let us down on the food front down in Atlantic City on draft night?
I bet they're in cahoots. I bet
you think so?
They talked in Atlantic City, and the fact that we did a 5-hour show down there on Friday, and they didn't provide us with any food during the entire 5 hours.
Sad.
I think that they talked about it and said, we owe the guys, and so they agreed to make us taco salads today. It's got to be it.
Mike Butts says they owed us one. He might not be wrong. I think that's the biggest news of the day, right? The taco salad. What did you put in your taco salad, by the way? People can let us know in the comments what they put in their taco salad. Go ahead.
Maria just makes like whatever would go into a normal taco. So like ground beef.
Okay.
Right. The shredded cheese and the sour cream and avocado.
No avocado in this one, unfortunately.
Well,
I could add it. I didn't put any in, but okay.
Yeah, and then there's the salsa, but it's like a special.
It's like a pico de gallo.
Yeah, kind of thing. Yeah,
okay.
On top. Yeah, tomato, lettuce. The only problem with it is that Maria always makes too much.
Okay.
It's always,
and then you feel like you have to eat it, or she's gonna be sad.
Right. I said that. So she brought literally. I was sitting at the computer writing this afternoon, and she brought it over, and I was like, "Are you eating some of this? Like, this is monstrosity." She's like, "Oh, just whatever. Just eat what you can." But it's always that. Yeah, but look at that. Like, that's huge.
This is a massive taco.
That's a massive bowl.
I had one meal today. I had a small lunch, and then here we are. So eating a taco bowl as we get ready for the show. I added some lettuce in here. There's refried beans. There's black beans. There's soft and crunchy tortillas. That's the key. You want that Crunchwrap Supreme feel. Anyway, I think this is the biggest news of the day, right? Oh, wait. NHL free agency happened today. If you blinked around like 12 o'clock or so, you probably missed it. Free agency was an absolute bloodbath for a bit. And then all of a sudden, it was just like you look around and you go, everybody's gone. All of the big names, for the most part, gone.
Yeah.
Mitch Marner, gone. Although, we all kind of knew he was going to go to Vegas. And now, I don't know how much we want to dive into this before the Flyers stuff, but like, Marner was the biggest name on the board. Marner's name apparently came up at the trade deadline. The Leafs seem to believe that Marner and his camp had worked out a deal behind the scenes as long ago as potentially a year ago with Vegas, which is about the time where Marner or the Leafs contend that Marner's camp just kind of cut off negotiating. His name came up around the trade deadline. He didn't get dealt as part of the Rantanen deal. It was apparently a 3-team trade. And now he signs with Vegas. And there was a rumor going around from Elliot Friedman on 32 Thoughts that, maybe if Vegas sent a player back to Toronto, that they wouldn't file tampering charges. But if there's no player going back, it could be a tampering charge. Felt kind of crazy, right?
Well, but let me just stop right there. This whole tampering stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, so what time was the first deal announced today?
I don't remember. Don't ask me for specifics on things.
It's very easy. 12:01. Okay. What time did the free agency start?
12 o'clock.
Does anyone on the planet think that deal was constructed in 1 minute?
Yes.
I mean, there's this stuff happens, and so for anyone to start screaming tampering, I hate when I hear that in sports. Like, players talk to or managers talk to agents constantly, year round.
And agents represent a lot of players.
And agents represent players, and just conversations get had, and things start, being put together. Like it's it's like for anybody to really say, "Oh my God, like, it's tampering." Like, come on. Unless it has to be something really, really egregious, where you're like talking to a player on another team, when that other team thinks that they're still, within their rights to be negotiating solely with that player, like that kind of stuff. Okay, fine, whatever. But
or like if after Toronto got eliminated from the playoffs, if Vegas had a text waiting for him, "Hey man, you up?"
Yeah, exactly. You
won't have to feel bad in your hometown if you sign here and lose in the playoffs. Like,
right.
What are we doing?
That's different, right? I mean,
it was crazy, though. Like, the amount, I tweeted out earlier, but it was like the amount of Toronto media and content creators that were like, "Good riddance, get him the hell out of here. He turned his back." I'm like, what are we doing, guys? By the way, the person that they should probably focus a lot of their ire on is Austin Matthews, who once again kind of no-showed in an important series, but they wouldn't do that. Now, if Austin Matthews were to become a Philadelphia Flyer, we would delete this part of the show. But, like, there's a lot more hate and scrutiny to go around in Toronto than just Mitch Marner. But he lands out in Vegas. I don't think there was anything too surprising, right? Like, we knew ahead of time since we last recorded, like, Ekblad re-signed, Marchand re-signed,
I'll give you
Bennett re-signed, Tavares re-signed in Toronto. What?
I'll give you two crazies. Number one, what the hell were the Columbus Blue Jackets thinking? Signing Ivan Provorov for 7 years. Was it 8.5 AAV?
Yeah, they sure did.
What is that? Like, that is not even close to what he should be getting.
Is Ron Hextall like serving as like a shadow GM there?
Holy
I
smokes.
mean, absolutely insane. Like I don't know what they're thinking.
That one was
8.5, 7-year, 8.5ve million AAV.
Wild.
Absolutely bananagrams. Like, and legitimately
then,
bananagrams.
And then another bananagrams was the trade today, Carolina and the Rangers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, how crazy was that?
Miller gets moved to
DeAndre Miller gets traded to Carolina.
Yep, I'm pulling it up here. I'll put it on the screen for those who might have missed it, because this is easily one of the craziest trades you're going to see. It feels incredibly one-sided, but
yeah, it is very one-sided for the Rangers.
There you go. So if you miss this somehow, Keandre Miller goes to Carolina. He gets an 8-year contract extension. So I mean, good on him. He got the bag, right? Remember, this is the last year because of the CBA that's going to go into effect. Which, by the way, we had a little bit of breaking news before this. Frank Saravalli put out, it should come as no surprise, but the NHL and NHLPA are going to sign the thing with the IOC and IIHF to allow for Olympic participation in 2026. So that's great.
Yeah.
This comes out. Remember, this is the final year that players can sign an 8-year extension with the team that has their rights, or 7 years with a new team. That changes in the next CBA. It'll go down to 7-year max from the team that has your rights versus 6 years as the max if you're signing with a new team. So yeah. Miller locks in a big way. I mean, 8 years.
I mean, he's
but look what New York gets back.
He's
look at this. Look at this.
A first and a second next year.
Scott Morrow, not bad. Scott Morrow, not a bad return there either.
And the money is high.
Yes.
I mean, I'm just floored by it. Like, I don't know.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It was nuts.
And so that went down today. You had some big signings that went down. The Flyers did a few things. I want to level set first, I guess, right? Yeah. Like, there are a few things that we need to touch on here. But, like, let's level set what today was supposed to be. Because it felt like no matter what, there were people who walked away from today disappointed in Flyers land. And I was watching it all day unfold on Twitter, seeing some people say, hey, that signing's not that bad, or this signing's not that bad, or like, I wish they would have done this, and we'll get into all that. But it felt like by the end of the day, people were like, man, this is a really underwhelming free agency period. And I did my show it was around 5 o'clock. I dropped a Russ Joy show. Thank you to everybody who joined and who's now here again, by the way. This is the beauty of what we're doing here, man. Like, people in the comment section on that show are now in this comment section, and they'll go from this comment section, and every Monday and Friday, maybe Monday and Thursday, because Phillies don't play a lot of Thursday games, they'll be going over to Fighting Words. It's a beautiful synergy thing we got going on here.
Too much joy.
Some could say it's too much joy. Some say it's not enough joy. You just never know. We hope that we bring some joy to your day. Yeah. But it felt like a lot of people were like, oh, such a disappointing deadline. And I don't get why. Like, I want to start there. We're going to get into the signings and like what we think they were thinking and, did they meet the needs and everything. I just don't understand what people who are disappointed right now thought this offseason was going to bring. I don't know why people seem to go into this with heightened expectations. They were never going to be in on Marner. We knew that all three of the free agents from Florida were re-signing there. We knew Tavares was staying in Toronto. I don't know what people were expecting. Can you make heads or tails of it? By the way, Brock Besser, whose name came up on the show, he goes back to Vancouver. I think Nikolai Ehlers is still out there, right? Or Ehlers. I always call him Ehlers, but he's still out there. But apparently wants to go. He wants to go to a warm city, right? And apparently one that has cup aspirations, which, in fairness, this Flyers team has, but not this season. Probably not really the next season either, so he doesn't really fit the mold. Why are people disappointed?
Well, because I think fans want a team that's going to win, right? And they want to start winning now. They want to start contending now. Fans are impatient. I mean, and deservedly so. I mean, rightfully so, I should say, because the team hasn't been good for so long. Mm-hmm. You do have to kind of give the Flyers their path that they're on here because they kind of told you what it was going to be, right? Mm-hmm. I do think that they're going to be better than they were last year. Doesn't mean they're going to be a playoff team, but I do think they're going to be better. They have a shot at being a playoff team. Things can break their way still in certain ways. The one thing that still stands out to me is because the goalies, the goalie situation is not the greatest.
Yes.
And that's the one thing that, it was my concern going into last year, and it's going to be my concern going into next year as well, thinking that somebody's going to have to perform over and above expectations to really make the Flyers be, and maybe Vladar will be, and I gotta get used to saying it that way.
Vladar. He is not Vladar. You cannot say Darth Vladar.
Yeah, it's okay. Vladar.
Vladar.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't that sound like it sounds like a luxury car or maybe like a line of furniture? Not IKEA though, but like the Vladar. Yeah. Dining set, the Vladar love seat, the Vladar Chaise.
Chaise lounge there. No, so I mean, look, Vladar is better than either Fedotov or Kolosov. There's no question about that. So you're upgrading at least the second goalie, but to me, Vladar and Ersson are interchangeable, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe the Flyers look at it and say Ersson's better when he plays fewer games. The question is, can Vladar, who's never played more than I think 30, 31, whatever it is.
He's only eclipsed 30 once or gotten to the 30 once.
Can he give you 37 and Ersson give you 45? Yeah. I mean, obviously you
can Ersson stay healthy enough?
Well,
that's what it really hinges on.
He needs to be healthy. He needs to feel fresh, and when he is, he's good. But that's the thing. Like, he's not quite a one. So he's always better as a tandem. Maybe it works. We'll see. I mean, but that's the one concern that I have. Yeah. Right. But I do think that when you look at the other moves that he made, let's just start. Christian Dvorak is an upgrade from Ryan Poehling. Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, he is. So that's better.
And at the very least, he's an upgrade over whoever would have filled the 4C role.
Yes, and if you want to look at it even a different way, do you want to look at it and say Zegras is better than Poehling and Dvorak is better than whoever AHL guy would come up and play fourth line center? So you've automatically made your centers better. You still don't have an elite center, but your four guys down the middle are at least passable now, right?
Yeah.
And then when you add Juulsen, I mean, he's really just a third pair guy. But the interesting thing
probably
is
number 7.
I mean,
it feels like
he's going to have to play. He's going to have to play the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I mean they had Juulsen and Gilbert, and it feels like they're going to battle for that number 7 spot once Risto's back. But the feeling, the operating belief right now is kind of that Risto, good chance he's going to miss the start of the season, or it's going to be very tight.
No, I think he's going to miss some of the beginning of the season. I don't think he'll be out as long as Foerster, which we'll get to later, but I think that he's still going to miss some time at the beginning of the season. And if that's the case, then you're going to need somebody else to kind of fill in back there. And the reason I say I think Juulsen might end up on the third pair, Russ, is keep in mind that both him and Dvorak were guys who've played for Rick Tocchet before.
Mm-hmm.
So there's familiarity there. And if you're Rick Tocchet and you're putting your groups together, do you look at it and say, all things being equal, would I trust the guy that I've coached before over a guy that I've never coached before?
Yep.
And I say yes. And so I think that he maybe gets a leg up on whoever wins that 6th D battle. I think Juulsen's got a shot more so than anybody else. So all around in those areas, they're not huge improvements, but they're certainly marginal improvements. And so therefore, I think the Flyers are a better team today than they were in April with the additions that they've made. So, it is what it is. But I'm a noted homer, right? Like, I never say anything remotely critical of this team, organization, or their decision making. As we all know, I have been nothing but a flag waver and a water carrier for this organization for the last 7 years we've done this show. Yeah, not even remotely close. These signings are fine. They're exactly what I think most people who are logical and who have been listening to us or have been listening to anybody else who kind of follows the same line of thinking as us have been saying for months. Rob Greeley over on YouTube asks this question: Christian Dvorak 5.1 or 5.4 for $1 million, is it pricey? The answer is yes, but there's also that report floating around today that he might have been looking for $2.5 to $3.5 million on a 2-year deal. He took more money up front to do this one season with the Flyers. Remember, when the initial tweet came out, it was Kevin Weeks. He said $4.5 million. Everybody went, ah! And then he said, sorry, it was actually backwards. It's 5.4. And they went, ah! And you go, all right, if he's your 4C, right? Because you would hope that, like, Cates is going to be your 3C, right? Zegras is probably going to be your 1 or 2. Couturier is going to be your 1 or 2. If Couturier doesn't bounce back as well, maybe he's your 3C, whatever. But those are your top 3. Now, could Dvorak potentially be a 3C from time to time? Sure. Could Dvorak play out on the left wing if Lushenko rocks your socks again? Like, if Lushenko shows up at camp, just looks like he belongs, and they give him a look, maybe. But if nothing else, Dvorak gives you a little bit of flexibility there, and he also probably does reduce some of that pressure, like fan pressure. If you hadn't addressed center, would then be, well, Lushenko has to make the team, or he's a total flop, a waste of a pick, and we need to send him into the sun. Because you know that there would have been a big portion of this fan base that would have felt like that. To me, like, Dvorak gives you a solid guy up the middle, positional flexibility, and happens to remove just a little bit of pressure off of last year's first-round pick. Yeah, no, and not only that, Russ,
and it's a 1-year deal. It's a 1-year deal.
That's
Who cares?
the most important thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's a 1-year deal. It gives the Flyers option. It's a lot of options. We say, what are those options? Well, let's play out a couple of different scenarios, or 3 different scenarios. First scenario is Flyers are surprisingly good. Like, they're a playoff team. Christian Dvorak's producing. He's helping this team win. And you look at it and go, great, good on him for betting on himself. Maybe they re-sign him and bring him back, and he's part of what you're doing going forward. Awesome.
Yep.
Let's say Christian Dvorak's playing great, but the team is not a playoff team. Well, then what do? You flip him at the deadline for another asset, right?
Bingo.
There you go. And the third option is Christian Dvorak disappoints. He's terrible. The team's no good. Well, you get off the contract after 1 year.
Yeah.
Right.
Or the team's good and he still stinks. Either way, you're off the contract in a year.
Yeah, right. And so that's the thing. And so if it was a multi-year deal, then I think we can complain. You would complain about it, and I would complain about it as well. But the fact that it's a 1-year deal, it really doesn't matter. And the only other thing that people say, well, you could have used some of that money for something else. The thing I want to remind everyone is that the remaining cap space that they have, the majority of it is going to Cam York.
Yes.
On his new deal, right? So even if, let's say, you didn't spend $5.4 million on a 4th line center, you spent 3.3, let's just say. So you had an extra $2 million to play with. What are you doing with that $2 million? Like, who are you adding with that $2 million extra dollars that's going to suddenly, like who signed today for $2 million that you go, oh, that's what they should have done.
Well, people will point to Alex Lyon and say Alex Lyon got $1.5 million for 2 seasons, which is honestly like it's a fair criticism if that's what you want to do. However, this organization knows Alex Lyon enough. They also know that like I think Lyon probably would have had interest in coming back here, but like whether they're going to say it or not, I think their belief is Ersson is best when he's in a tandem. He's probably best as a 1B. Are we going to see a scenario where Vladar is able to like unseat Ersson as the number 1? Probably not. Is there a better chance of that happening than Alex Lyon coming in and doing it? Maybe. And so if it's that feeling of the competition and trying to like light a fire under Ersson and all that, like maybe this works out better. I don't know.
Well, here's the other thing I want to, and you heard Danny say it, right? There were multiple goalies that they were talking to, right? Mm-hmm. And you know, he didn't mention any of the others by name. I had not heard that they talked to Alex Lyon, but I suppose it's possible that he was one of the multiple goalies that they did. But the thing that was really most attractive to them was Vladar wanted to come here. Yeah. Who knows what other goalies? I mean, even if they were interested, the player has to want to come here, right? Yeah. You know, maybe Alex Lyon said, "Yeah, I've been there, done that. I don't want to go back to Philadelphia." So, I mean, you sit there and go, "Oh, that's what they should have done." Well, sometimes, yeah, it seems like that might be a better decision, but you got to take into consideration in free agency, does the player want to come back? And to be fair, I've not asked anyone if the player wanted, if there was conversation about Alex Lyon, what his thoughts were about those conversations. Didn't happen. But you don't. I mean,
timeout here is right. And I had Martinez on my show last week, and he said that he still talks to Alex Lyon, and like there could have been interest there, but it just, even Martinez at the time was like, I just don't think it's the right situation. Let
me put it this way. No player is going to tell a member of the media, I don't want to go to a city when they're a free agent, right? Correct. Yes. So they're going to say, oh yeah, sure, yeah, right. But I mean, in reality, in the private conversations that are happening, like we don't know what a player's motivation is. Yeah. So there you go. I mean, now whatever.
the Jake Allen of it all is maybe a little bit interesting, right? Like he opts to stay in New Jersey. The thing that was weird about that deal, I didn't think he was going to get more than 3 years. He signed a 5-year deal worth 1.8, and honestly, with the cap going up, I felt like we started to just see the very beginnings of like cap manipulation, where like that deal to me doesn't make sense.
Well, so
5 years for Jake Allen, who is a backup, does not make sense. It does if you're willing to eat that money by putting him on waivers in like years 4 and 5 and maybe year 3. But man, it really does feel like, and we're going to start to see these kind of deals stretch it a little bit, lower AAV, be willing to eat that money on the back end.
There's no way he plays out 5 years. Let's be honest. Yeah. Jake Allen's 35 years old going into this season, right? He's not going to play out those last couple of years. So you're looking at, he's probably a 2 to 3 year contract, and then it's like, and he signed it before age 35, so they can't have that 35 plus penalty, right?
Yep.
So that's the thing. Like, you can waive that guy and bury that money. Like, all right, we're going to waive him. He's going to go to the minors, whatever. You only get hit with a small penalty, whatever. Yeah. With the cap going up astronomically, what are you worried about? Or you buy it out and you're paying $900,000 a year once you have salary caps that are $125, $130 million. It's nothing. Yeah. It's peanuts. So you're
right. Sean C makes a pretty interesting point here about Marchand getting 6 years at 37. Like, that's also the price, though, in fairness, of like trying to go for that 3-peat and have the dynasty. Like, you're willing to kind of accept that the end of that contract might stink, but keeping him is worth it. While we're on the cap really quick, I saw Rory send over a super chat. I saw we had another one before, too. I'll have to make sure that we bring that one up as well. Yeah. Rory, thank you for the super chat, says, could Ellis's contract, $6.25 million, be traded to San Jose to get to the cap floor? Around $9 million, I think, is where they're at from getting there. Also, what's any idea of York's AAV from his qualifying offer? Let's take the first part of that first. Could you see a team like San Jose that needs to get to the cap floor trading for the Ryan Ellis contract?
I mean, anything's always possible, right? I don't think San Jose will take that contract yet. I think you're probably still another year away. So in other words, the reason the Flyers were able to get away with trading that Pronger contract to Arizona at the time was because everyone knew Arizona was never going to be spending anywhere close to the cap. They were just a at the floor kind of team, and that's how they were operating. San Jose has designs on being a good team in the next couple of years. Why would you take on a dead contract on your roster and have to carry it like that? I don't see that. I think it's a different scenario these days. It's so I mean, while it's possible, I don't think so. As for York, it's going to be curious to see what he really ends up getting. I think he's probably going to get in the neighborhood of 5. Somewhere in that range is probably what he's going to get. I mean, you look at what they have left to spend, right? The Flyers, I think right now
it's about 4.6.
No, I think they're a little bit more than that in space because I think
it was Puckpedia had them at 4.6.
Yeah, I think that
I missed Cap Friendly. That would have been nice. Cap Friendly. Thanks, Caps.
Yeah.
I'm
pretty sure that they're closer to 7 total.
Puckpedia has the Flyers at 4.62 million in cap space.
Yeah. I'm telling you that I'm pretty sure that they're closer to 7.
I trust Puckpedia.
I'm telling you that
I trust them.
Okay.
I do. I do.
Are they still counting people in there that maybe that they don't have on the roster any longer?
Let me take a look.
That they
please hold.
Yeah.
Travis Konechny, Sean Couturier, Owen Tippett, Trevor Zegras, Dvorak, Cates, Foerster, Hathaway, Delorier, Brink, Mishkov. They have Rodrigo Abels on the team at 800K.
Yeah.
Sanheim, Risto, Sealer.
Have they sent Fedotov down?
Hold on. Drysdale, Zamula, Andre, Juulsen, Gilbert. They don't have the York money factored in there. And then they have Vladar, Fedotov, and Ersson.
Yeah. So Fedotov's going to end up in the AHL. That's $3.2 million right there. So now add that on. Now where are you at?
7.
Okay. So the Flyers are around 7
I thought that
million.
money's going to still count against the cap, even if he gets through waivers.
Well, part of it does, but only part. That's why I said it's close to 7. It's not quite 7. You know, the whole thing does not count. So
okay.
So yeah, so he's going to get, but the point is York's going to get about 5, right? So you're probably still just $1.5 million under the cap at that point. That's a good spot to kind of operate really during the year. So that's kind of where they're going to be. You couldn't really do much of anything else. There you go. Andrew Fawcett has it, and so does Flyers Guru.
1.1 million. Okay, 1.1 million.
And Flyers Guru is saying 800,000.
Okay.
Whatever.
See Timpo here too. Okay.
Yeah, it's somewhere in that range.
I think our Hexall 87 is right though. Get rid of the salary cap. Totally agree. So if that's the case, so you're looking at like 5.7. So okay, like that's the Cam York money. And maybe a little bit left over for Shabanov. The thing that's interesting is they don't seem to want to put Ellis on LTIR. They don't seem to want to put
at least not at the beginning of the year they don't.
And they also seems like they also don't want to do that with like a Risto to start the year. And it seems like the reason for that is largely another one of those cap maneuvers. But if you don't put a player on LTIR, you're essentially accruing some cap savings and cap space. And that when the trade deadline comes around, maybe you're able to eat a not so great deal for an asset. What's that smile? Why are you smiling?
It's a text message. It has nothing to do with what you're saying.
So put your phone down and pay attention to the people.
It has it's hockey related, so I don't know.
Is it?
It is.
But is it?
Yeah.
I said 8:30 was going to be our out, and we're not even close. Not even close. And now you're looking at your phone.
I'm listening to you.
This is what I deal with. This is it. Okay. Let's move off of the cap. So Cam York, bless his heart. He'll get a deal. He'll get a deal. I did see a question though. Could the Flyers look to swap RFAs? Like, could they swap York for Bo Byram? I don't think that's in the cards, but I guess in theory they could.
I don't think that I don't think the Flyers are gonna be involved with Byram because of what that contract is going to end up being, and trying to offer sheet in RFA, we've talked about this before, like it has to be the right player for them to do it. They're not going to do it going into 26 because of the potential lottery ticket of Gavin McKenna. If you don't make the playoffs and you finish in the top 11, you have a shot, albeit a small one, but you have a shot at Gavin McKenna next year. So they're not going to give up that first round pick.
Correct. Okay. So we got those out of the way. We got the free agent signings out of the way.
Yes, we did.
We have one other thing that we have to talk about.
Yeah.
On this show, June 24th, we were on this program, this here program. Now, I went on quite a heated rant on the Russ Joy Show, wherever you can get your podcasts and on YouTube. And I saw that as soon as we went live, longtime listener of the show, Brian Knowlton, threw a comment in the comment section that said, "I'm here for another Russ rant." I don't have it in me to give you another Russ rant. I've already gotten it out of my system, okay? I don't have it. But I noticed that once again, there are people that for whatever reason, it's because I discredited somebody's bullshit report.
This is my
30, there they go. Summerman. Damn it. Yeah, 39-minute mark.
Yeah.
On this show, on the 24th, we were talking about the fact that there was going to be some news coming. Now, we knew at that point that Tyson Foerster had an injury. We knew that. We didn't know the extent of the injury. We didn't know specifically what the injury was. This was sourced info. This was not the person DMing people on Twitter, because I saw that going around today.
I can't tell you. Let me just say up front.
What?
How many people DM'd me that I did not answer with this injury? So it was obviously out there in the world, even though no reporters reported it. It was certainly out there in the world. Yeah.
And I put out to you a few days ago, I was like, listen, it's circulating. Clearly somebody's getting it out there. Like, we could just put it out, and we didn't. And it's rare that we kind of hold back info like that. But with an injury like this, what's the worst thing you could do? Speculate on what the injury is until you have confirmation. And we'll get back to that in a second, because Danny Briere even kind of like gave you a little bit of uncertainty in his presser today. But I want, for the sake of clarity, because I saw people today saying, "Oh, these guys are assholes. These guys were laughing about Tyson Foerster. They're happy Tyson Foerster's injured. They're thrilled that Tyson Foerster got hurt. What absolute scumbags." So you know what I did, Ant? I took a few seconds. I went back, and I pulled the clip. And I played two clips here, and you're more than welcome, all of you out there, to go back and check out the episode from the 24th of June, the year of our Lord, 2025. But just really quickly, I want people to judge for themselves. And if I'm wrong, you can certainly let me know I'm wrong. But I don't think I am. Now, I did add context. Before this happened, we were starting to laugh about some stuff, and that included some of the comments on the screen. First one, I believe, was from longtime listener Andrew Fawcett saying something about Russian disinformation. No way. And then it picked up from there. So I just want to point this out. All right, let's go back. Let's see. Ant, did we laugh and mock Tyson Foerster, dance on his grave, and wish him bodily harm? Let's find out. Roll the film.
Look, there's going to be other stuff that comes out, right?
Mm-hmm. Why are we smiling here? Has he served his 1 year in the Russian military? Okay.
In the next week.
Shabanov, Zegras, Mishkov, Hart. We get a change in. Okay.
People are going to be surprised by. Let's put it that way, right? I mean,
we've now changed because it's realized what that information is. Okay, we continue.
We can't really say anything, but
bookmark it. Bookmark the 39-minute mark of this show.
Yeah,
sounds like something somebody would say if they're trying to dance on the grave of a current player who's injured. Bookmark the time. Okay.
That there's something.
We'll come back next week. Yeah, we'll talk next week.
We'll talk about next week that you'll be like,
Ant, does that sound like somebody who's thrilled about the news?
Not at all.
Interesting. All right, well, we're going to keep going.
And I know everybody's like, Ant, talk. Ant.
This came about 3 minutes later, by the way.
Talk, tell us what you know. Trust me, I will. It involves current.
Be careful.
Flyers. That's all I got to say. It has nothing to do with the trade. Has nothing to do with the draft. Mm-hmm. Just when it happens, it happens. You'll know.
Things might make sense. You absolute rat bastard. I can't believe you smiled and you mocked and you dehumanized an injured player. You know what, for that, Ant? I'm going to give you the boot. All right, everybody. We just have to keep going. We're going to keep on keeping on. I mean, like, what are we doing here?
I know.
What are we doing?
Well, and my favorite part of the whole thing was I said, we'll talk about it next week. And for a week, everybody said,
Chauncey's right, by the way.
When's it coming out? Yeah.
We talked about stuff being like sort of embargoed. Like, listen, this was one of those times where with an injury, when we didn't know the severity, there were people saying this could be a 6-month injury. There were some saying 3 months. There were some saying he might be able to resume activity in a month. You can't put that out. And by the way, the people who are like, oh, well, why didn't you just say Tyson Foerster's injured, but we don't know the severity? Because guys get hurt a lot. And in the course of a season, guys get hurt a lot. Guys get injured. You don't report on every injury that happens to a player. If you did,
here's
every episode would be filled with an injury update.
Yeah, here's one thing I would say, though. I think if the season was going... First of all, I'll say this. I know for a fact I wasn't the only reporter who was aware of this. So, like, I was not... It's not like this was exclusively Ants and oh, my God, he's got this super-duper scoop. Like... There were other reporters who knew this as well, okay? Mm-hmm. And if you go out there, you could probably figure out a couple of them because they reported immediately at the same time relatively that I did today. So that's first and foremost. But also, I would say that if this was in season, I probably would have reported it last week because it would be affecting the team in the games that are being played on a daily basis, right? If it's in the summertime, there's no rush to report something, especially if you didn't have all the details, right? Which we still don't have all the details. We have some of the details, and some of what you heard in Danny Briere's press conference today is there. I'll tell you that I don't think we've still heard everything, right? But we'll see. I mean, we'll let time pass it on. I'll take you back a couple of years, Russ. Do you remember when I put a report out that said Sam Morin suffered a significant injury and may not be coming back to the NHL? Mm-hmm. And Riley Cote, our good friend from Nasty Knuckles,
great guy,
been on his show a couple times, and I love the guy. He put a thing out that said he talked to Sam and everything's fine. And I got killed for it. I got killed for it on social media, right? Everybody's like, Ant is terrible, wrong. You got a bad report, this and that. Okay, fine. And I don't care if people want to criticize me for that. That's fine. The reality of it was, in time, over time, we learned that the original report was correct, right? So I think what we need to do is we need to let time play out here a little bit and learn a little bit more because there's more details that I don't think have been shared.
Sure.
Specifically. And I understand why they haven't been shared because we don't have 100% clarity on it, but there are things that we have pretty good clarity on. And
Danny said today that there's an infection. Okay, well, there are a whole bunch of different ways infections could happen. Could he have suffered an injury to his bicep or his tricep? Yes. Could that have eventually gotten infected? Sure. Could there have been a surgery that we don't know about and there was a complication, there was infection? Maybe. Who knows? We don't know. We're not going to speculate on it. But there are a whole bunch of ways that this kind of thing could happen. Could he have ended up with, Danny said there was an injury at Worlds. Could he have had something like some kind of inflammation that ultimately got infected? Could that have spread its way up his arm? A lot of different things could happen. Could that have also led to tenderness or to some other kind of issue? Maybe you're working out or whatever and you exacerbate the injury or something's weakened. There's so many things we don't know yet. And so it's just there's this immediate need for people to then just kind of jump all over it. And so he's out. And that sucks because Danny runs into these things a couple of times. It happens every once in a while. English isn't his first language. He speaks very good English, but it's not his first language. And sometimes in the midst of that internal translating, he'll say something that I don't think he means, or he'll get tripped up on something. And in this case, it was it might have been you asking or somebody. about the replacement. Could there have been a replacement? He said, well, I don't think he's going to be out the whole year. Well, I hope he's not out the whole year. And you're like, well, of course. But like, there has been no indication, even from back channels, that it's going to be the whole year. It could be a few months of the season. It could also be he's back by the end of camp. There's a wide variance here, which is why we didn't come on the show on the 24th and say, he's hurt. We didn't know how bad. And in fairness, even after Danny's presser today, he didn't say, this is how it happened, this is where it happened, this is the original injury, this is how the infection happened. We don't also expect him to do that. But there's a lot of nuance. And some people just like to kind of run onto it. And I see this person's been commenting, so I'll shout them out quick. Sir5059 says, Ant touted it like with some big news. Still waiting for the aha moves that were going to lead the news. I'll give one to you. There were names that we talked about on this show. There were wingers that we talked about on this show. There were some things going around in the background. Could the Flyers potentially target this wing, that wing? One re-signed with his team. Another one's out on the market. There was one that we saw floating around today in Corey Perry. His name floated around. And we said that the aha moments were going to be, if the Flyers had signed one of these guys, you'd been like, why the hell did they do that? And then when the news would break about Tyson Foerster, you'd go, aha, there it is. That's what makes sense. They just didn't end up signing one of those wingers.
I think Brandon's comment here is prescient.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know. Maybe the team didn't really want injury news of a star player out. I don't know. Right when the team is getting ready for a new league year, I don't know. Wasn't free agency today? Asking for a friend. I mean, there's a lot of things to that, right? I mean, there's a lot of things that come into play here, in varying degrees. And look, the Corey Perry thing, again, I first of all, I knew about it. Couldn't say it. If you read my story yesterday, I kind of just threw a thing in there that said, are they possibly looking at a winger, a scoring winger. I don't know if they'll get it done, but heard today that there's a conversation of that. And then wake up this morning and Elliot Friedman has, Flyers are interested in Corey Perry. Obviously, Perry signs with the Los Angeles Kings. The reason they were interested in Corey Perry was as a fill-in for Tyson Foerster. Like there were things that were kind of connected here, and people kept asking, like people were asking me yesterday on Twitter, a surprise move? Like, is that what you were talking about last week? It's like, well, no, but they might be connected, right? I mean, and that's kind of what it was. Look, you could criticize all you want. Anybody can criticize me at any time. I will never. That's fine. You can complain all you want. You can say I suck all you want. It's not going to change, right? Nothing's going to change. I'm going to continue to do the job the way I do it. And that's all there is to it.
Mortar Partone says, it screams insecurity. If you're big league, don't act like this. Who are you trying to convince? Let's talk hockey. I have this real bad habit, okay? My bad habit is when I see people going after Ant, or God forbid they ever go after Bundy, which is a really bad idea. I have a propensity for standing up on behalf of and throwing gasoline on a fire and going after people. See, like there are people on Twitter who, when you interact with them, they just fold or they mute or they block. I don't do that. I'll find you. I'll take out the flamethrower and I will douse your timeline in gasoline. I'll light the fuse and I will flamethrow you right back. There was a guy who tried to misrepresent what we said on the show last week. And I said, all right, give me the proof. He couldn't provide it. He sent me 5 screenshots of captions from our show. Couldn't prove the thing that he said. There's a lot of misinformation that goes around. I like to meet it head on. I think it's better that way.
And Russ does.
We're just a couple
Russ will meet it head on.
Angry Italians.
I don't care. I really don't care what people say. Yeah. But another thing that I think is worth bringing up at this point, because you talk about this injury to Tyson Foerster, and he's going to miss time, is the names that Danny brought up when I asked him about this today at the press conference, as who could potentially replace him, since they didn't go out and get somebody in free agency. Like, who would they potentially put in those spots? And the first two names he mentioned were Alex Bump and Porter Martone.
Ha-ha!
Now, I'll tell you, Alex Bump didn't surprise me one little bit, right?
No.
I think Alex, I thought all along that they looked at Alex Bump as a guy who was a real shot to make this team. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you that I was a little bit surprised at his answer about Martone, because I kind of thought that he might. I didn't think there was a player in this draft, in all honesty, who was NHL ready. From people that I talked to, like, it just seemed like, from talking to some scouts, it was like, yeah, they all need another year. So to hear him say Martone, now it could be a thing where it's done motivationally. Let's see what this kid does. If he thinks he's, comes in and is trying to wow us and whatever, maybe he comes in and blows us away and we give him a spot. Maybe it's one of those things like they did with Luchenko last year, where it's like, hey, you're going to have a great camp and we're going to reward you with a few games and then you'll go back. Right. I mean, so there's a lot of different paths that can go, but the fact that he mentioned Martone in that was a little bit of an aha for me. Like, because I didn't necessarily think that was a path that they would consider going down. So I think that that's a really interesting thing. Also, considering you got to wonder, is Martone going to go to college? Is he not going to go to college hockey? There's a lot of talk about him.
Intern Andrew's going to be really bummed out if Porter Martone isn't playing at Penn State. Along with Gavin McKenna, who, if half of Flyers Twitter is to be believed, the Flyers are going to be in on McKenna in the lottery. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, I thought that those were really interesting answers. And I still think ultimately it's going to be Bump who gets more time at the NHL level. But
for sure,
I'm now interested to watch that quote unquote competition for that spot.
Yeah. Well, and it's a good sign, if nothing else. Like, Martone's going to come into camp. People are going to be excited the same way they were in some way for Mishkov, right? And the nice thing is that with a lot of these centers, you were talking about 2-3 years at the soonest. And with Martone, it was probably 1 year of college, and then 26, 27, he'll have a legit chance to make the team. If he does everything the right way, he can bring immediate size. Yeah, he's young. Yeah, he hasn't filled out the frame yet. Sure, he's not going to be the same size that he'll be at like 25 or 26. But if he impresses you in camp, they are in a position, once again, where like they don't have to win. There are no expectations for them to actually contend or compete. They could give him, correct me if I'm wrong, they could still give him that 8-game look at the start of the season, and then he could go play in college, correct? It's akin to what Luchenko was able to do going back to Guelph, right? I don't think there's an NCAA regulation that prevents it, is there? Or maybe there is because it's a pro to college. Okay.
Pro to NHL to college is.
So if he doesn't blow you away in camp, he easily goes back to college. If he does blow you away, there are worse things in the world, right? There's certainly worse things than having your first round pick make an impact sooner than expected.
No, I agree.
I don't think it'll happen.
No, I
agree.
But
it'd be pretty cool.
No, I absolutely 100% agree. Like that would be something, right? I mean, because I didn't think that was a thing that they were really looking at him as a potential NHL guy.
Yeah.
So
one last player. Maxim Shabanov.
Yeah.
Now, I have been very critical of some people and some places who have said for the better part of a month that it is a done deal. He is going to be a Philadelphia Flyer. Some said almost a month ago that Danny sealed the deal and that it's done. Well, Danny Briere came out today and at this press conference addressed the Maxim Shabanov rumors and was about as transparent as can be. Said that they've been talking to his camp almost daily. They believe they are one of a few teams that he's considering. They hope that he ultimately chooses the Flyers. I don't know about you. That doesn't sound to me like Shabanov has agreed to being a Flyer yet. He still could. But there were people who would have led you to believe a month ago, done deal. It seems like the Rangers might be in, the Islanders might be in. We've heard the Penguins in the past. We heard Vegas in the past. There are other teams that have been in or around him since I think the rumor first circulated in February that he could potentially look to make a move, a less lucrative financial move, having to take an ELC with bonus money versus what he could make in the KHL. Do you get the feeling right now that this is like on the precipice of happening? Like it's going to happen in the next 10 minutes? Or will this drag on to July 2nd? Could we be going to 4th of July cookouts and he's still not signed?
I honestly thought it would happen today. I was kind of under the impression it was going to happen today. Sounds like it's getting bumped to tomorrow. The final decision. I'm still on the side of this is going to be, he's going to sign with the Flyers. When I look at the teams, the 4 teams that are considered to be the finalists at this point, which are the Rangers, the Islanders, the Utah Mammoth, and the Flyers, I think that the Flyers offer the best opportunity at the playing time required to hit the bonuses to get that bonus money, right? So let's look at it from this perspective, okay? So every team has to offer him the same contract, 1 year, $950,000, right? That's what it's. Yep. That's what it is. That's the ELC for an RFA at his age. You can have bonus money on top of that, okay? And look, it's not going to be absurd bonus money difference between the teams, but you're still going to have to hit certain parameters to get that money, right? In order to do that, you're going to need the opportunity and the playing time. And I look at the 4 teams that are considered the quote unquote finalists, and I think that the team that offers the most opportunity for that is the Flyers for Maxim Shabanov. And so I think ultimately it will be here. I look at it this way. I think the agency is trying to, build up a little bit for their client, create a little competition between teams, send out different signals to people. Like those things happen all the time. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I still think that in the end, he signs here with the Flyers. And that's not, and I'm not saying that because
I hope he does.
I'm not saying it because someone from the Flyers said to me, we are 100% confident he is signing with the Flyers. It is, they feel good about it. They're cautiously optimistic. They're still not 100% sure. But then I talk to a couple other people and say, okay, yeah, putting this together, puzzling this together, that makes the most sense. I'm pretty confident it's going to happen.
Yeah. Can I just tell you really quickly that there's one person who I don't think would be really entertained if Shabanov signs here? It ain't you.
Who's that?
It ain't me. Kevin Kurz. Kevin tweeted this. I said to him the other day, I was like, dude, Shabanov is going to become your new Kolosov. And he goes, what? I'm going to be right about him too? And I was like, all right, touche. Kevin tweeted this out right after we went live. Signing a 5'8", 156-pound winger that will turn 25 in October and has never played in North America still seems like a virtual waste of time to me. But I suppose if Foerster is going to miss some time, it's worth a shot. Find somebody who feels the passion that Kevin Kurz does toward Shabanov without ever having met the player.
Yeah.
Find somebody who has that kind of passion for you, and you will never live a sad day in your life. You know? By the way, I saw in the comments, do we think Mishkov has talked to Shabanov? Sure. Do we think Zamula has talked to Shabanov? Sure. I mean, listen, the sleuths about a month ago found that Mishkov and Zamula and Shabanov were all following each other. And that's when people started trying to, do the, what was the name of the character that Charlie does on It's Always Sunny, where he's, standing at the board? Is it Pepe? Pepe something? I should know. You know what I'm talking about, where he's got, the pegboard? And he's doing the conspiracy.
Yeah, but I don't remember the character.
Oh, somebody's going to get it in the comments, almost instantly. Somebody has to know. But I don't know, man. He might come here. I don't know. If he wants to win immediately, it won't be here. I think Pepe Sylvia. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Sean C wins. We'll see. I would love for Shabanov to end up here. The fun that we would have covering a team that has Zegras making some head turning plays and Mishkov, of course, and then also Shabanov, it'd be a lot of fun. And we have covered some very boring and bad teams. Yep. Some have been boring, some have been bad, some have been both. I would love to cover a team that has some exciting players on it. So I will hold out hope that Shabanov ends up here. I'm not sure that he will. But he might. But I'm not so sure. You say you think it's good chance that he's here.
I still think so. I still think so. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll see.
By the way, Steve, I was bitching to my wife today that I need to get a haircut. I was bitching to her today, and now the Phillies have a doubleheader tomorrow. And so now I got to.
Why do you need a haircut? Why?
It's too long. It's hot. It drives me crazy. It drives me crazy.
It's hot.
When I say it's too long, right? And I got a big old bald spot up here.
Yeah, I'm trying to wonder how it's hot. How is it hot?
It's hot. It bothers me. It bothers me in the summer. I get so annoyed when I'm outside and I don't have like a mostly shaved head. But my wife hates it. She hates
the shaved head. I do too. I think this looks better on you.
Come on, you guys are both ridiculous.
I think this looks better on you.
You're both ridiculous.
The comments can let us know. All right, listen. We said we were going to be out of here at 8:30. It's 8:56. I think we need to go. Like I would like to go spend time with my wife. I'm sure that you would too.
Complaining about it?
Well, no, I told her. I said, listen.
I asked her to mute the TV. Like
I said, listen. I'm going to go 8 to 8:30, and I'll be up. And she's like, yeah. I was like, no. Like it's going to be 8:30. She's like, It's been 7 years. She knows. Look at this, by the way. R. Hextall says, I agree. Don't shave it. Greg says, Ant looks good now. Tim Tobin wants you to buzz it. Amadeo wants you to take his hair. He's got long, luscious locks.
You know, there's a photo that exists of me, and Russ, you've seen it because it used to be in our Slack chat when I had that mullet wig.
That was a look.
All right, yeah. and then I did. It was during COVID that I took that photo. I actually grew my beard out, and then I shaved to go to the Tiger King look with the Fu Manchu, and the long sideburns. So I did that with the mullet wig, and everybody loved it. It was hysterical. So,
by the way, we have to pour one out on our way out.
Yeah,
because Hockey News Hub, who was at the forefront of a lot of the Mishkov news. And I think the Kolosov news too, and has been like a pretty damn valuable person when it comes to like passing along the reports out of Russia, has now announced that he's leaving Twitter. He's leaving X. Says it's time. Thank you for those who have followed me followed me over the years. Not the end for me. I'll be on my Patreon. So all the best to Hockey News Hub, who I did confirm as a guy. I said on my show, I was like, I don't want to assume. Could be a lady. Could be non-binary. Like, I don't know. And then Hockey News Hub DM'd me and said, I am a guy. I can confirm that. And I was like, thank you, Hockey News Hub.
I feel bad. And I don't know why he's decided to just bail. Well, I guess I can figure out why he decided.
Shabanov. It's probably because nobody will shut the hell up about Shabanov.
You just got to just ignore it. Ignore people. You know, if you want to have fun and be playful and playfully go back and forth at people and spar, go ahead, have fun. I do that sometimes. Like, right? Mm-hmm. I spar with people. If you actually saw my face as I was doing it, I'm usually sitting there laughing as I'm typing these things into the to respond to people. It's fun. Like I don't take anything personally. I don't take anything seriously. And if anybody thinks that I do, well, sorry about you. Yeah. Except for Evan Atkins, who I can't stand. He triggers me. That guy.
I'm gonna let him back in the comments.
Never. Yep. As soon as I see him, he's gone.
Nope. I'm going to remove your privilege to boot people from the chat.
It's the only one. It's the only one. And the reason I do it is really not personal. It's because I think that he spams the chat and ruins the conversation for all of our good fans who are in here commenting on YouTube at the same time because he has 8 bazillion comments and it drives people crazy. I've heard from people about it. So
many people are telling me this, saying, "What a horrible guy! He's a chat spammer." All right, anyway, we got to go.
Yeah, Tony Louie, love this guy.
What?
We were having a debate the other night, but it was good. It was fun.
Tony Louie,
absolutely fun.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sean C's right. Is Evan Adkins Ford in disguise?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think they're a little bit different.
So we will be back next week. We are in the process of trying to figure something out this week, but it won't be live. But it's going to be stuff that you'll want to check out, assuming we can actually like get it done this week. It'll definitely guarantee that there will be an episode of Snow the Goalie every week this summer if we execute it the way that we kind of plan on. So there we are. Keep your eyes peeled. It'll be a lot of fun. We also, I know that I said this all last summer and then didn't do it. Now we have video guy Amadeo. So we're going to be uploading a lot of the old interviews. So there's an old Travis Konechny interview, an Alain Vigneault. There's a Scott Gordon interview. There's a ton. We have a lot. Bobby Clark. That's the one where we kept going, just going to get a bunch of guys together and drink a couple of beers, drink beers, smack a guy on the ass, go fishing, have a beer.
I don't think he said smack a guy on the ass.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. 100% he did. Are you kidding? You think I'm going to besmirch Bob Clark's name by saying, maybe he said pat a guy on the ass. Smack and pat. I mean, it's a different level of, ferocity that you're fair. Yeah. But anyway.
Oh, there was a super chat. You forgot. Andrew Fawcett super chat.
Oh, you're right. Right off the top. Hold on. Let's go back to Andrew Fawcett. Sorry. Wow. That's a lot of comments back. Hold on. Wow. Hold on. There were a lot of comments. There were a lot of people who joined the show. He asked, can you assume tampering started at the trade deadline?
Yeah. I mean, in a lot of ways, I would say that you're probably starting to have some kind. You learn a lot of things at the trade deadline about where teams are with players. Yeah. And so then maybe you start asking some questions of agents.
Yeah.
When you talk to them and say, what do you think about those conversations happen nonstop. It's nonstop. Yeah. God bless the general managers for dealing with what they deal with agents back and forth, because there is so much, and you wonder when, I think agents play this game in certain ways too. Like, I think that they purposely bring up things at very specific times to kind of generate the most interest in their player.
Yeah.
And so, for GMs to have to sift through that constantly, I don't know. I wouldn't have the patience for it. I wouldn't have the patience for it. I'd be like, dude, just talk to me. Just tell me, where are you at? Let's not go back and forth. Where are you? Where am I? Let's get it done. I don't know. And maybe I would fail as a general manager because of that. Maybe I would fail badly as a general manager because of that. So I couldn't deal with the constant, clandestine communication.
By the way, people were asking in the comments about when the draft is going to happen, or not the draft, the schedule drop. Schedule drop is going to happen. Do you have any insight there?
It's usually right after free agency. I don't have an exact date. I haven't seen one. Maybe it's out there. If it is, I haven't seen it. But it's usually sometime in the next week or so.
Okay.
Yeah. Believe me. If there's not many people who want to see a schedule more than me, as you all know, my schedule, my personal calendar is through the roof booked at all times. And so as soon as I can get that hockey schedule and put it into my calendar, I am a very thankful man.
Look at you, Mr. Popular. You're so unbelievably popular.
Superfan Eric says July 16th. He probably, he usually knows those things. So if that's the case, that makes sense.
I was trying to find. I have an old hard drive somewhere of all of the old Snow the Goalie stuff, from way long ago, because I know there was a clip somewhere where we talked to Bob Clark about beer, and it was a full super clip of it, and I don't know where it is now, and I'm really sad.
By the way, don't forget this: our Hextall 87 Black Friday Cutter game. Make it happen, Flyers. Don't forget the Eagles are playing on Black Friday this year. We're gonna figure out how that's gonna work.
What do you think they're gonna end up doing there?
Maybe play 11 o'clock in the morning.
Really?
Maybe. The Eagles game's gonna be at 3, right? So it's no good regardless. There's no good time. This was my idea, and Amadeo, I'm glad he put it back up. said 12 a.m. Black Friday, like just when people start going shopping, like I would love it. The NHLPA would never go for it, but I think it would be the coolest thing. It would be celebrate. So many people would watch it. So many people would be part of that. Like it would be fun. It would be a lot of fun. NHLPA would never go for it.
Hey, I have something for you.
What do we got? Is this something else new? No.
I told you I'd find it.
There's no bad beers. When I come to Philadelphia, like beer was a staple as part of a hockey team. And that was a normal thing. Play hockey and go have a few beers. And we'd go to the neighborhood and play ball and then go to somebody's house and drink beer and eat hot dogs and stuff with them. I don't like fishing that much. But I like sitting on a boat and drinking beer and throwing a line over and hoping you don't catch anything because you don't want to take it off the line, you know. We all go over to Ott's here last night after it's all over. There's about 10 of us at the table drinking beer and talking hockey and who made a good decision and what teams got better. And, you know, you're not solving any problems, but you're talking about them. I love sitting and talking hockey, as I've said, but anything. Get 3 or 4 guys together and a couple beers and just bullshit. That's wonderful for me. I'm an expert at doing nothing. I go. I'm a crappy golfer. I play a lot. You don't get any better. I'm about a 14, so
that's pretty good. That's not bad at all.
Yeah, I play 6 days a week though.
All right, so he doesn't say a thing about smacking.
I know he didn't say smack anybody in the ass.
Listen, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna watch the whole. You know what? I'll put the whole interview up on the channel. Okay, so there you go, my friends. So anyway, I thought that'd be a little bit of a fun throwback. But like we have all this old stuff that I'm like, it should be on our channel. So we're gonna get there.
That was fun.
But yeah, I mean, there you go. So look at this. Tony Lewis says, "Dang, Ant has lost a lot of weight since that picture. Look at you, Ant.
Down 42 pounds since December 15th. So.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah.
What a stud. Well done." That's not true.
No.
That's hurtful. That's hurtful.
That is so good.
Oh, by the way, where's it at? Here we go. Tom Allen, Dale Weiss, next up.
Yeah.
There's a Dale Weiss interview out there in the ether. So anyway. All right. We'll be back next week. Bundy will be back with us. Keep your eyes peeled. And if you can, like the video, share the video, subscribe. Liking the video seriously does help. It helps a lot. It helps people find the show. We went over 4,000 subscribers over the weekend, which was really cool. A big shout out to our video guy, Amadeo, for doing all the short form stuff as well. If you're on the YouTube channel and you see all the clips now and the shorts, that's him. So if you are on TikTok or Instagram Reels or Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts, hit those with a like as well. It just helps more people find the show. So, all right, that's it. For Ant, for Bundy, I'm Russ. Thanks for listening to, maybe even watching, Snow the Goalie. We'll talk to each and every one of you very soon here on Snow the Goalie. Have a great night, everybody. Talk to you soon.